Thanks for joining me on this episode of the Messy Middle Road Trip podcast. I'm Sandra, one half of our dynamic hosting duo. We're entrepreneurs, wives, a mom, a favorite auntie, creative souls, and women who are fearlessly navigating the middle of life. In between our regular podcasts, Nicole and I will be going solo to talk about our areas of expertise. Nicole tackles health and wellness, and I'll be talking about celebrating yourself in spite of the stories you might tell yourself. This podcast was created to bring together a community of women over 40 who embrace the past, appreciate where we are now, and take action to live our best life, because it's all about the journey. Today I'm going to talk to you about lowered expectations and how that can actually be a pretty awesome thing. So 2020 has been an interesting year. We're in the midst of a pandemic and so many other things that are going on that have caused us to make some really incredible changes in our life. And what I have found myself doing for a lot of 2020 is lowering the bar. Really just setting my expectations at a very different place because I know that things could change in a heartbeat. And the thing that's so interesting about that is it's kind of like when you go to a party and you have absolutely no expectations about what's going to happen, and because your expectations are so low about this party, no one who's going to be there, you don't think it's going to be great. Oftentimes what ends up happening is that you leave that party and it is the greatest party you have ever been to. So I began thinking a little bit about this because a few weeks ago, when we celebrated Thanksgiving, I asked a friend of mine, "How was your Thanksgiving?" And I knew it was going to be different for her, just like it was for most people. She wasn't able to see her mom, and she spent it just with her husband. And I said, "How'd it go?" And she said, "You know what? It was actually kind of great. I got to spend the day in my sweats, and we made dinner when we wanted. I didn't really stress about the food. Everything tasted great, and it was really kind of nice." And so I said to her, what do you think that's about? Because our Thanksgiving was pretty great too. And it was really different than it normally is. And somehow that made it even better. And so we decided that part of what made it so great was not having any expectations. There were no expectations set for how things should or could go. And so instead, we just entered the situation with an open heart and thought, well, we'll just see how it is. We're just going to roll with it. And so I started to think about that. And I started to wonder, could we potentially bring those lower expectations into other parts of our lives? Could we bring those lowered expectations to what we expect of our partner, what we expect of ourselves, what we expect of our children? And that doesn't mean that you're going to all of a sudden do a crappy job. That's not what I'm saying. Because you can enter a situation giving it your all and being amazing. But can you lower the pressure? Can you lower the expectation so that all of the things, the unexpected things that come up when you aren't expecting, maybe you have a lineup in your head of the mark you need to hit in order for it to be awesome. What if that wasn't even there? What if you just went to it with a completely open mind? No judgment, right? I think judgment gets in the way so often. Judgment on ourselves, judgment on the situation, the other people who are involved, people who drive us crazy sometimes. What if we could just lower the expectation for every part of everything that we do? So I'm working on it. I'm thinking about it each time I enter a situation where I feel tremendous pressure on myself. I look at that pressure and I ask myself, is this, is this, is what you're asking of yourself really the right question? Can you enter this situation and just have fun with it? Can you go about it without thinking that you need to leave with a met goal? Could you just go in and explore it and be a little fancy free? That's kind of what I think happened this holiday. I think that we didn't know what to anticipate in terms of how things were going to go. And so because of that, it went exactly the way it was supposed to, as opposed to the way that we thought it should go. I loved it. And that's how I'm hoping Christmas will be too. So as the holidays are coming up and you're thinking about, this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard. You might not see your family this year. I totally get it. But is there a way that you can be creative, that you can do things a little differently, and perhaps find joy in a way that you haven't in the past? Can you do that for this one season? Make it whatever it is that you want to make it. Maybe you don't want to cook the damn turkey. Maybe you want to do something else. Maybe you're going to make sushi. Maybe you're going to eat ice cream sundaes all day. I don't know. Whatever floats your boat. Maybe this is the year to really, really lean into that. And if you are interested in what I am wearing during this podcast, find me on YouTube. I've got a very interesting jacket on because I decided to not get too fancy and wear something that I thought might be kind of fun. I kind of changed things up a little. I really appreciate you being with me for this recording. And if you have enjoyed our podcasts on the Messy Middle Road Trip, I hope that you'll consider subscribing and hearing us every week. And if you like what you hear, I hope that you'll leave a review because you know what? We really want to connect with more midlifers like yourself. I hope you consider subscribing to the Messy Middle Road Trip podcast that you can find on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you do enjoy listening, I hope that you'll leave a review and you'll share it with others. The more reviews we receive, the easier it is for other people like yourself to find us. So thanks so much for joining in. Nicole and I are looking forward to our next trip with you. Thanks for riding shotgun. Until next time.